What does it do, you two? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host, and welcome to episode 104, my folks. And I had really hoped that, after that scintillating victory over them damn Niners and Father Hanahan at the Palace in Inglewood, I had really hoped that the Rams had turned a corner, that the Coach McGenius, had finally turned the corner and would embrace the principles of balance, the fundamental football. I hoped, and I know it was a long shot, I admit. I really hope that at the quarter pole of this NFL season that I could come to you and tell you that the Rams had reached 500 at 2-2 and that they were trending in the right direction. I hoped that would be the case, but as you know, my folks, au contraire. No, quite the contrary. I am reporting for duty here on the outskirts of the city at an undisclosed location, and regrettably, unfortunately, I must inform you that our worst fears are being realized and that it appears that the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams is incorrigible. It appears that hope for a pivot towards fundamental principles is misplaced at best. And so, my folks, I come to you this episode with a simple question. Do you see it yet? Do you see it yet? Or is it still only me in all the land, only I observe these awful idiosyncrasies with Coach McWonder? I'm going to present to you today the case against McWonder, because it's already started now. After every putrid loss, the lemmings and the ferrets and such, they go to work. The McWonder spin machine, they go to work. The narrative doctors, they go to work, and they rack their brains and they come up with the excuse du jour. I remember the putrid Super Bowl defense season, 5-12, and they repeatedly said, the narrative was that Coach McWonder, we just had no one to work with. Man, no talent. Nothing to work with, you see. Like a great artist who just simply ran out of clay. But then, last season, they rebounded from a very poor start. Starting to be a pattern. And they made the playoffs, and then there they were, the same experts. The lemmings, the ferrets and such, and this is proof that McWonder is a genius, and this is his finest coaching performance ever, they said. Willfully oblivious to the realities. And I have come here, episode after episode, doing postmortems, sifting through the debris, the wreckage. And I present data. I present you with facts, my folks. I give you the numbers. I've analyzed, crunched the data, and I reach certain inescapable conclusions, and I share them with you here. And so I have no axe to grind. You must understand this. I am a Rams fan from way back, so I grant you that full disclosure. I've seen the Rams play live probably before McWonder was even born, but that's beyond and beside the point. The point is, there's something wrong at the palace. Something stink. And, well, the thing of it is, my folks, you can look high and low for excuses and point here and point there, but there is an inescapable conclusion. There is one man only, with full and absolute power at the palace in Inglewood, and that man is sick with a condition. He's an unbalanced fellow. He's got past happiness, and that's just what it is. And so the emperor has no clothes, you see? And so, unchecked, like Nero, he fiddles as the palace burns around him. Do you see it yet? And I'm going to present more data. And I told myself after the last couple episodes, because I've become very passionate, as you know, and well, these were epic episodes, and there's a roller coaster ride to the season and all of this, and I'm aware of it, but I believe it was Bill Parcells who said, "You are what your record says you are." And the Rams at the quarter pole are 1-3, and they are every bit a 1-3 team. And it goes well beyond there's no one to work with. It goes far deeper than injuries. You see? And so, you know, they are McWonder apologists, and they are telling you it's injuries, you see. Injuries, really. Because last week, 1 week ago, why, McWonder was a genius again, wasn't he? He was being celebrated all across the national platforms as a genius for defeating his dada for the first time in 9 tries. As play caller, I'll put in that caveat. He was being lauded, celebrated. He was a football guru. McGenius was. Injuries had nothing to do with any of it on one side or the other. Okay? And yet, now, after a dismal loss against the Bears, and I warned against this last episode 103. I warned against it. I told them, if you go out there, if you are not committed to the principles, you're going to go out there and get beat and come back with an L on your head, just as has transpired. And so now, finally, there's starting to be whispers. Yeah, because there's a cult of McWonder, you understand? And so it's verboten to speak out and to openly criticize the Golden One. Only I do it, and I'm banished to the outskirts of the city. But I made you a vow that you could come here. You won't get a narrative here. Yes, I'm a Rams fan, but I'm going to report to you what I objectively observe You are going to get the real here, if nowhere else. And really, there is nowhere else. Because everywhere else, McWonder is a genius, and whenever he fails, it's someone else's fault. The end. Is that really it, though? So this year, it's the injuries? That's what it is? Well, we're going to look at the data. But finally, around these parts, there's starting to be whispers. One of the local sports anchors, well known, on his sports wrap-up show, has a former Ram player on with him, the two of them discussing and dissecting what's just happened. And this sports reporter, finally, he asked the forbidden question. He said, now, it's not forbidden here. I've been asking it for years, but he said it out loud openly. Maybe he subscribes to Scotty Says. He asked the question. He said, what should be made of the play calling, and what about the personnel question? Play calling and personnel, P&P. Sound familiar? If you've been watching Scotty Says, you know. That was an episode I went in depth on McWonder's play calling and personnel decisions. This sports reporter asked about it. What about, and the personnel, specifically the personnel question that he was posing was, why doesn't Blake Corum get any more run? Sound familiar? Well, now, I could have answered it for him had I been there, and I would have told him, well, you see, now you're getting to the heart of it, sir. Because there's not enough room for Blake Corum to get run. It's hard for K. Will to get 20 carries, let alone, and when Blake Corum gets a little run, well, it's in a concession role at the end of the game or returning a kick, returning a kickoff. What's doing here? And he asked about the play calling in particular down the stretch of that Chicago game and the personnel, the very issues I've raised here time and again. And you know what the Rams former player said? He said, no. We do not question McWonder. No, McWonder does not deserve to be questioned. He knows if he doesn't play someone, it must be a good reason. If he has shoes to run, it must be some mysterious, there are mysteries that can be pondered and those that cannot. But we do not question McWonder. There's a deity halo effect around him here. He gets, say it with me now, he gets all of the credit, none of the blame. That's his deal. And so, well, being in that position, why, I could see how hubris might set in. One could become a bit arrogant, perhaps, knowing that you are beyond reproach, beyond question. Well, except for the guy on the outskirts. No, the whispers have finally started, but they're loath to go deeper, to go into it. And there's McWonder in the post game of that Chicago beating, and he's saying, we moved the ball well, but we did a poor job of finishing. Yeah. Finishing drives, he said. We have to do a better job of finishing drives with touchdowns. And now we're getting to the core of it. Because this is not a new malady. This is not a recent development. This goes way back with McWonder. We have to do a better job finishing drives with touchdowns. Well, the thing is, Coach, if you only dug a little further below the surface, maybe you'd see it. McGenius said, I'm going to have to look at the tape. You know, that's a weekly refrain. I'm going to have to look at the tape to see where we can improve. And I thought, well, clearly the man has never seen an episode of Scotty Says. I wish I was at the press conference. I wish I was there so I could say, Coach McWonder, Scotty from Scotty Says. May I ask a question? You say you have to look to see where you can improve? Why don't you run in the red zone, sir? And as a follow-up, why do you eschew the run in goal-to-goal situations? And then I have another one on the other side of that. You don't run in the red zone. As a follow-up, sir, Coach, have you ever heard of the 25-30 principle? Do you understand what it could perhaps do for your game plan should you implement it? That says I'm being dragged out of the press conference. So I ask you, why do you have such difficulty finishing drives in the red zone? It's not a mystery. It's not a perplexing, confounding conundrum. It's actually quite simple. You don't run the ball down there. You eschew the run down there because you want to check it in. That's why. And I've got the receipts. My folks, I've got the evidence to back up what I say. I'm not just blowing smoke. But I just want to ask you, are you starting to see it yet? Yes, they are finally starting to wonder about McWonder. But do you see it yet? Do you see how many McSquanders there are every game? Do you see how many McBlunders there are every game? I had to create a special segment within the episode, the McBlunder Report. And let me tell you right now, this week's McBlunder Report is full. There were multiple candidates. I had to trim it down to 3 McBlunder Report candidates. It's too much. Every week. It's costing the Rams dubs. Do you see it yet? Well, as I present the case against McWonder, perhaps, if you don't yet, perhaps this will help sway you. I contend, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I contend that it is not injuries that plagues the Rams. I contend that it is not lack of quality personnel. I contend they're essentially done for the season already. And I contend that this is because of poor coaching from the top, poor game planning from the main man, poor play calling by the play caller. So let's look at it. Now, I want to start by saying, yeah, when the Rams are right, they have the talent to compete. They've got a top shelf running back. Matthew Stafford is a top shelf quarterback despite getting up in years and lack of mobility. I like their wide receiver room. I've talked about it. And their O-line, contrary to what you are being led to believe, is not that bad. And they have managed to patch that O-line together pretty well. And so from all indications, the same O-line will start for the third game in a row Sunday against the Pack at the Palace in Inglewood. So there is continuity on the O-line. It is not the way the ferret would have you believe that it's just this revolving door. 3 consecutive games starting the same offensive line. That is continuity. You're only 4 games into the season. You've got a couple of rookies there. They're holding their own. No, that's not what the problem is. It's not your tight ends. The problem, the root, the cause. It's the play calling. It's the game planning. And so that is solely on the head of McWonder. He's complete and absolutely in control down there at the Palace. And so I want you to consider something now. I hoped, I'm a Rams fan, I hoped that the team would be, I thought, a contending team this year. Coming off an improved showing last season. I knew that they lost AD 99 to Beast. I knew that that was going to be a devastating hole to try to plug up, but there were some other things I did like. You know, you lost Higbee, you got Parkinson. That's not bad. You brought in a couple of linemen, old linemen, and I hoped that there would be maturity and growth and evolution. McWonder has learned nothing. He's stunted. He's stuck. And I can imagine you've had such enormous success so early in your life that who's going to tell you that you're straying from a wise path? Who will you listen to? And so I believe you can get a very clear indication of what knowledgeable insiders believe about the Rams and Coach McWonder, not from the talking heads who have TV shows or podcasts, but from Vegas, from the odds makers. Look at what Vegas does with the Rams week in and week out. Have you noticed this? The Rams are always underdogs. Now, I know you say, well, the injuries, but think about it now. The opening game of the season, there were no injuries. Soup was there. Buka was there. It was the new line, the new offensive line. It was all new and fresh. They were road dogs against Panama, the Lions. And they lost, and you know how it ended. How they got gouged in overtime, never touched the ball in overtime. 8 out of 9 run plays, touchdown, walk-off. You know how that one ended. The Rams were underdogs. The following week, against the Cardinals, Arizona. Well, the Rams have historically handled Arizona. McWonder was something like 9 of 11 or something like that against Arizona. I mean, he owned Arizona the way Father Hanahan owned him. But when the Cardinals and the Rams met in week 2, the odds makers, they had the Rams as road dogs to the Cardinals. Huh? And that was when I was like, uh-oh. Vegas got the Rams as underdogs against the Cardinals. And then the Cardinals drubbed them 42 points they put on the Rams. 0-2 facing them damn Niners, you know that the Rams were going to be home underdogs, which they were, and they pulled it out. Credit to them. But then they go on the road against Chicago. They are road dogs against the Bears. Huh? So, you know they're going to be underdogs. They're going to be home underdogs against Green Bay. In fact, they're favored to lose each of the first 5 games of the season, and that'll probably go on the rest of the... Who knows who they'll be favored against, if anybody, at this pace. Why would Vegas constantly bet against the Rams? What do they know? Well, you don't build all those casinos with foolish bets, do you? You must know something. I think they know what I know. They know that there is a book of McWonder. And they know that if you know what is contained within the book of McWonder, you know how to beat him every time. And these coaches have read the book. And we went over it. We went over it extensively. The book of McWonder. I'm not going to reiterate it all here, but essentially, it's that there are tendencies that this head coach has. Glaring neon sign, bells and whistles tendencies. And any coach worth his salt will exploit him, take advantage of him, and beat him. Time after time. And that's why maybe I should start calling him McLauper. Because time after time, it seems this happens. But are you starting to see it yet? And so, this is my opening argument in the case against McWonder. But now, let's move to the latest evidence. Submitted for your approval. Entered into evidence Exhibit A, the Rams at Chicago. Let's get into game analysis. The Rams had no new inactives of note on offense. So that whole injury, it's not holding water. Okay? And after Caleb and the Bears are forced to punt, the Rams take over. I'm hoping that following up on that victory over them damn Niners, that the Rams were going to come out in 12 personnel, but they did not. The Rams started in McWonder's preferred old familiar 11 personnel. And as I mentioned to you now, the offensive line remained consistent from the game before. You've got Havenstein, he's back, the staple at right tackle. You've got at right guard, you've got Dotson. The center is Bo Limmer. He's holding his own as a rookie. Your left guard is Logan Bruce. And your left tackle, Alaric Jackson. And so that lineup has shown continuity now. And I expect we'll see them again versus the Pack. And then in 11 personnel, of course, you've got your one tight end, Kobe Parkinson. You got your one running back, Kyron Williams, and Manny from the D, of course. And then your 3 wide receivers. Well, Tutu is out there, and I see him in motion. And you've got Jordan Whittington, and you've got the Demarcus Robinson. And so we get this party started. We get off cooking and underway. Now, here's the thing I want to point out as we enter Exhibit A. Rams running backs on the day were averaging about 5 yards per carry. That's primarily K. Will, but also Ronnie Rivers. 5 yards a pop on the ground. And what have I often said? Let success be your guide as a play caller. When you're gouging them on the ground like that, when you're gaining 5 yards per carry like that, you've got to take advantage of that. You've got to exploit it. To not do so, that's negligence. That's malpractice. That's malfeasance as a head coach and play caller. And so Exhibit A. You start off in 11 personnel. You run the ball to start. And you gouge them for 5, and you sprinkle in another run or 2, 5 each time. But right away now, to start the game, we see it, the condition. 9 plays you've run, 6 pass, 3 runs. On the 10th play, which is your 7th pass attempt, Matty is sacked, walloped in fact, takes a hit, and so now, there it is. You see? The defense. They see right away, oh, he's in McWonder mode early. He's passing time and again. And so they heat him up. They test out your O-line. Instead of letting these young guys on the O-line gel with these veterans, and instead of giving them some brute force power run stuff, you want them moonwalking, shamon, and they're pass protecting, and 7 dropbacks out of 10 plays to start the game, and down goes Matty on the 10th. Raising on Illinois grass. You're moving the ball between the 20s, but what happens is a promising drive gets thwarted because of your tendencies, your predilections. They reveal themselves yet again, in the defense recognizes it. These guys watch tape. These coordinators, they study. They see what you do. They heat you up. They test that line. They drop your quarterback. You're behind the sticks. And so what started as promising ends up thwarted. And now you're kicking a field goal. And so I wouldn't classify this as a McBlunder, but I would consider it a McSquander, because early in the game you have an opportunity to set a tone. And this thing that he does, let's just talk about it right now. This thing that McWonder does, this goal-to-go situations where he insists, he is determined that he must chuck it into the end zone, even from a yard or 2 yards out. That is disturbing to me. What is up with that? Run the ball, sir. 1st and goal to go at the 3, and he'll go 3. Remember, and I'm giving you examples, and I could pick and choose because I've been doing these episodes for so long. There's so many of them in my head, but I'll give you a prime one that is emblazed in my memory. Remember last year against Baltimore, the Rams go on the road up there against the Ravens, and they start their first drive of the game with 9 straight runs. 9 straight runs. And they are successful. They are bullying Baltimore. They're pushing them. Baltimore doesn't know what hit them. They're like, Coach, this wasn't on the tape. This isn't in the book of McWonder. What is he doing? They bullied them, and Baltimore gets pushed all the way back up to the shadow of their goal line, and it's 1st and goal. Rams from the 3, 9 straight runs, 1st and goal at the 3, and this dude passes on 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, and 3rd and goal, and has to settle for a field goal. Pass short of the sticks, lost 2 yards, incomplete, field goal. You just ran 9 straight to success. 1st and goal, finished them. Now McWonder, he says, hey, I ran 9 straight runs. I got us a 1st and goal at the 3. Now's the time to chuck it. Oh, well, okay, we'll kick a field goal. And do you remember that Baltimore game, do you remember how it ended? Do you remember that instead of 7 points, the Rams took 3 on that opening McWonder? And I highlighted it as the McWonder spotlight of the week. This was last year. They've been doing this for some time. This is very characteristic of Coach McWonder. And so there it is, right out the gate, right to start the ball game. They're driving with ease between the 20s. You get in red zone situations. You get in goal-to-goal situations and you choke them up and settle for 3 points. We saw it again just this past week against the Bears, didn't we? Time after time, McLauper. It is with negligence, with recklessness, that Coach McWonder has cost the Rams ball games. And this example I just gave you will classify it McSquander level. Category, McSquander. Let's move on. Your primary running back, K. Will, averaging damn near 6 yards a carry. Run the ball, man. But at this point in time, the Bears, they look, they look toothless. They look inept. And so they very quickly go 3 and out. All right, it's 3-0. 3-0 to start the second quarter. And coming back from commercial, they have a shot of these Rams fans with the watermelons on their heads. And just as a public service announcement, cut that out. Stop that. Stop it, folks. Don't keep doing that. You look foolhardy. This has been a public service announcement. Now let's get back to the game. Now, it's the second quarter. The Rams are up 3-0. They got the ball. They got a first down at their own 42, and they're driving the ball. And, Matty hits who was the leading receiver again for the Rams this game. And then there's a late hit penalty out of bounds on top of that. And again, the Rams moving the ball between the 20s, right? And now let's cut to, we're in the red zone. See, here it is now. It's 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3 from the 18. And, first of all, McWonder burns a timeout here. Okay, and this is another thing. It's a recurring thing we see, the squandered timeouts, McSquander. He burns a timeout, and you say, if you're going to burn a timeout and come back with the killer play, then it was worth it, right? Wrong. He burns the timeout, and then he comes back with a garbage play that results in a poltergeist strike. And I'm like, no, he didn't have a 3rd and 3 from the 18 in the red zone, and he has chewed the run again, and he's throwing, and it's a poltergeist. Wait. Matty threw a pass for Kobe Parkinson, who was running out of bounds. I don't know what kind of route that was, but as it turned out, the defender ran a little bit out of bounds too. So when he came back in for that pick, no good, because he also ran out of bounds. And so disaster averted at that point in time. But even though the poltergeist strike may have been revoked, I will not revoke that McBlunder. Another McBlunder. 3rd and 3 from the 18. Up 3 in the game. And you're throwing after burning a timeout, and you're throwing a raggedy route, and your receiver's running out of bounds, and it's picked off almost. Raggedy. R-A to the double G. E-D-Y. And so you have yet another exhibit. But in this particular instance, tragedy was averted. And so Once again, the Rams settle for 3 field goals instead of touchdowns. 3rd and 3 on the 18-yard line. Your running back is averaging 5 yards. 5 yards per carry. 3rd and 3. Why wouldn't you just hand him the rock and let him have a tote? You're on the road, McWonder. You're in Chicago, McWonder. The Windy City, McWonder. You're out among the elements. The Bears, the monsters of the Midway, they're known for smash mouth football and defense. What are you doing? You're playing the opposite, and Vegas knows you will, and they know you will, the other coaches, because they've got the book of McWonder. But wait, there's more. Regrettably, the Bears end up giving the ball right back. Now the Rams are up 6-0 after these 2 field goals, and well, they've got the ball back now, and it's 1st and 10. You got the ball. You're up 6-0. You're on the road. You're out among the elements. But your coach, McWonder, he's sick with it. He's unbalanced. He's got past happy, as you understand, and so McWonder comes out throwing. On the road, up 6-0, he comes out once again. Bird brain behavior, he's throwing. And, well, Montez Sweat comes around and swipes at Matty, and the ball coughs up and out, and ball out, strip sack, and the Bears recover, and there it is, you see, turnover. And where is this turnover emanating from? The pass game. You see? Where are all these setbacks that I've illustrated for you so far in this game? Where are they coming from? The pass game. Holding. 1st and 20. Behind the sticks. You have to kick. Interceptions. Poltergeist strike. Sacks where your quarterback is being pummeled, where he's grazing on Illinois grass. From the pass game. And now this. A strip sack. Ball out. Bears recover. And now finally, those sick, toothless, inept Bears, it looks like, to me, it looked like they said, well, you know what? If this man is determined to give us the game, let's take it. And with a short field, the Bears finally go ahead and capitalize on the Rams' mistakes, on McBlunders. And so, this has been a candidate for the McBlunder Spotlight sequence of the week. Points off turnovers, and now they take the lead. 7-6. Even a toothless bear can bite if you keep toying with him. And while this is going on, I'm noticing, it struck me as more than a little ironic that as I'm watching this all play out, the broadcast team is singing the praises of McWonder. They're in the cult of McWonder. And I felt like right there, I said, if the Rams end up losing this game, and they probably will, I said then and there, point to this sequence. Right here. Well, there was still much more McBlundering yet to come. Let's turn to the Rams with the ball now. 2-minute warning. They're down 7-6. 2-minute warning. Okay. First down at the 20. And they hand the ball off to Ronnie Rivers, and he gets you 5, right? And so it's 2nd and 5 from the 15. We gotta illustrate, highlight this sequence. It's 2nd and 5 from the 15. You're running back, just got your 5 on the ground. Okay? 2nd and 5 at the 15 now. You're just down a point. Just before halftime, there's still plenty of game left. 2nd and 5 from the 15. Your running back just got you 5. So what does McWonder do now? He's sick with it. Remember, what does he do here? 2nd and 5 from the 15. McWonder is passing. Well, he attempts a tight end screen that gets you nothing, no gain. And let me just point out right here that if you're going to try to run screens, coach, you need to have your offensive personnel drill it. Because you guys are raggedy running screens, wide receiver screens, halfback screens, tight end screens. It seems like no matter what screen you run, it is raggedy. Well, they run a tight end screen here. Gets them nothing. So now it's 3rd and 5. It gets worse. So, 2nd and 5 from the 15. Your running backs are gaining 5 yards a pop. You want to run a raggedy tight end screen that gets you nothing, no gain. But worse, there's offensive holding on the play. So now, instead of 2nd and 5 from the 15, it's 2nd and 15 from the 25. Moonwalking, going backwards. Why? These are mistakes emanating from where? The pass game. My folks, they're not, the Rams don't self-destruct in the run game. They self-destruct in the pass game. So, a raggedy tight end screen that wasn't going to get you anything anyway is compounded upon by the fact that there's offensive holding. And so now it's 2nd and 15 instead of 2nd and 5. And now you're at the 25 instead of the 15. And well, of course you're sick with it. Of course you're gonna pass. Incomplete. And now it's 3rd and 15. 3rd and 15 from the 25. Once again, in the shotgun, and Matty throws up a wounded duck. It's tipped and luckily is not picked. And once again, look at what has happened. You had 2nd and 5 at the 15 after your running back got you 5. And then you promptly went backwards. Pass, which led to holding penalty, which set you back. Pass, incomplete. Pass, damn near picked off. And now, you got to kick a field goal. You have McSquandered yet another opportunity. You can't keep making these kind of critical errors, especially on the road. You've got to be sound. You got to be tight with your fundamentals, coach. But you loosey-goosey and sloppy with it. Reckless. Raggedy with it. And it's showing. It's paying off. You are what your record says you are. You're 1 and 3 and you deserve to be. And so you have to go for the field goal because once again, bad judgment. Once again, McSquandered. Once again, McBlundered. And then Cardi comes in for the field goal, and well, for the first time in his career, he misses one. That Chicago Hawk takes it way, way left, and you come away with absolutely not a damn thing. Nothing. And on top of all of that, talk about game management. Instead of running the clock down, you're passing, penalty, passing. The clock's not budging. So now, when you miss this field goal, Chicago is set up. You were only down 1 point. You could have gone into halftime just down 7-6 if you just played it just conservatively. But you're reckless with it. And so now, after that missed field goal, Chicago gets the ball back and they have time on the clock and they go ahead and say, well, we'll go ahead and accept your gift, kind sir. And they put 3 points on the board. And so at halftime now, it's 10-6. The Bears I've been giving you Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. I've been giving you case and example after point and example, but let's just go ahead and get to it, because I could do this all day, unfortunately. But let's get to my final exhibit in the game analysis. Case in point now. All right, the Rams get the ball to start the third quarter, and it's only a 10-6 ball game, and, well, McGenius comes out in 12 personnel, and I'm hopeful that he will actually run out of this personnel grouping, and he does. He runs the ball, and K. Will gets a tote for 9, and then he gets another tote for 3, first down. Nice. And then you see Matty audibly killing out of a pass play. And see, we can't expect Matty to do it all, to be the coach and the quarterback and be responsible and be the adult and fix everything and get everybody set up. He can't do it all. 2 draws, pass interference, PI, Tutu making his presence felt. And so now it's another first down, and now we're in the red zone, my folks. And it's like a crucible for Coach McWonder. It's his kryptonite. It challenges him beyond reasonable explanation, these red zone problems for the coach. And so here it is again now. The Rams in the red zone. And, well, McWonder stays out of the book of McWonder. He runs the ball. Third down in the red zone, and he runs again. First down in the red zone. But just when you think there's hope, he reverts right back. He Motown backslides right back. So here it is, my folks. It's first and goal now. It's first and goal from the 9, my folks. First and goal from the 9. And McWonder, bird brain behavior, he's at it again. It's first and goal from the 9, and he lines the Rams up in empty shotgun. Oh, no. No, say it ain't so, McWonder. He's in empty gun. He's throwing on first and goal. You know he is. And he's throwing for Whittington, and it's incomplete back of the end zone. And now it's second and goal from the 9. And, well, he tries a half-back screen, and we've well documented the screens are raggedy, and he gets a couple of yards to K-Will on the screen. And now it's third and goal from the 7, and he's passed twice. Now it's third and goal from the 7, and then what does he line up in? Well, you already know, it's empty gun again. It's empty gun again. And my folks, now, I must say here and now, Coach McWonder has McBlundered yet again. First and goal from the 9-yard line, you pass, incomplete. Second and goal from the 9-yard line, you pass for a 2-yard gain. Third and goal from the 7, you're passing again. They blitz, they heat Matty up, and he throws short for 2-2, and it's another incompletion. First and goal from the 9. He never ran the ball once. He did it again. History just keeps repeating itself time after time, over and over and over with this guy. We've got to figure out how to be better in the red zone, he has the audacity to say in the postgame. I've got to look at the tape. Run the ball, first and goal. Run the ball, second and goal. Run the ball, third and goal. Run the ball in the red zone. Try that. We've got to look at the tape, and I've got to, got to really think about what could be causing these red zone issues. You don't get it, do you? You really don't see it, do you? But do you see yet, my folks? And so, after this same pattern has reared its ugly head yet again, now here it is against the Bears, not once, not twice, but 3 times or more. This must be now your McWonder spotlight sequence of the week. Bird brain behavior. And so it's madness, my folks. It's lunacy. This is malpractice. This is criminal negligence. This is bird brain behavior of the highest order. And I told you, I warned you last week, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. You're going to keep wearing L's on your head, McGenius. Until you... I guess you've got to have a come to Jesus moment. I guess you're going to have to repent your ways. Until then, until you maybe, I don't know what it will take, will you have to hit rock bottom. And so this is why the Rams are always underdogs. Vegas knows what McGenius is. Yeah, there's lots of fancy plays and motion and, ingenuity in the pass game, but that's where it ends. And he had us fooled, I believe, because he came to L.A. and he convinced us that he could fix the golfer. Did you see the golfer, man? He went 18 for 18, put up 42 points, 18 pass attempts. Now, 18 for 18 is very helpful. 18 pass attempts, 42 points. The Cardinals, 21 pass attempts against McWonder, 42 points. You see, you don't have to put up 40, 50 pass attempts to score high. These other coaches know this. And in this particular sequence, Cardi does come on, and he is true this time. And the Rams put 3 more points on the board, and they again show all of this movement and progress between the 20s, and then in the red zone, it grinds to a screeching halt. Why? It's a case study. The evidence is all right here. After all those field goals, the one touchdown they got, do you see it, my folks? They only scored 1 touchdown on the day, but the one they got, first and goal, they ran the ball. They ran the ball on first and goal, up the gut for 4, second and goal. From the 4, they handed the ball off to K. Will again, and he scored. And that was the only touchdown the Rams got on the day, when they ran the ball and toted it in from a designed run. Otherwise, check it, they never got in. Field goals. But in the post game, McGenius says, well, we got to look at the tape. We got to see. We got to try to figure out how to be better. On that touchdown, they went for 2 to try to get back in the game. And you've just run the ball. In fact, there were 4 straight runs in the red zone. 4 straight runs, including first and goal and second and goal. 4 runs to punch it in. And then on the 2-point conversion, you throw. Incomplete. Why not let success be your guide, McWonder? 4 straight runs, you're eating up 5 yards a pop, you just scored a touchdown, hand it to the running back, scored a 2 points on the ground. No. There are coaches, I believe, who would rather do it their way and lose then change their ways and win. And that's a sad commentary. And it may be that the coach of the Rams is just one of those type coaches. And then, of course, on that final Rams offensive possession, well, the people will complain, Matty got hit in the head, Matty took punishment, Matty, that should have been a flag, it should have been. They popped him in the head real good. But instead of a flag, it was a poltergeist strike, and maybe that was coming to him anyway. He tried to throw one earlier, and so you can't blame the refs for this. Don't blame the refs. I saw K. Will in the post game, and he seemed really broken up about it, and he said he needs to do better, and he wants to do better, and he felt bad because there were runs he could have added more yak, he felt, and I'm like, don't blame yourself, K. Will. It's not your fault that this man won't hand you the ball. It's not your fault. It's not Matty's fault. It's not the ref's fault. Responsibility for this rests solely in one place, and one place only. It rests squarely on the head of Coach McWonder. My only question is, do you see it yet? And so, now at 1-3, the Rams are essentially cooked, and next up is Green Bay, and, well, they got their quarterback back, and they put up a lot of points in a loss, so I'm sure they will be itching to get back on the right track. And then, LaFleur, the coach of Green Bay, well, he knows McWonder very well. Oh, he knows all about the book of McWonder. And so I have no illusion that McWonder and the Rams are going to be able to deal with the pack. So I fully expect, as I said a couple episodes back, most likely now the Rams are going to be looking at 1-4 going into the bye. It would be shocking to me if they were otherwise. And, well, it's deservedly so. They are what their record says they are. Their coach is unbalanced and undisciplined, and, well, he's going to continue to stack L's on his head. He's going to continue to get his quarterback pummeled. He's going to continue to trend in the wrong direction, I'm afraid. And that's because he lives in the book of McWonder. And until he gives that up, there's not much hope for anything different. And so maybe another nickname has to be added to the list now. McLopper. Time after time. And so let's get to the final exhibit in the case against McWonder. Let's get right to the numbers now. And so the numbers are simply going to back up what I've been describing to you. The Rams, they outplayed the Bears according to the numbers. They moved the ball fairly easily between the 20s. They had more total yards, the Rams did, than the Bears. They had more yards per play. They were better on first down, better on third down efficiency than the Bears were. They had more total plays. But then you start to see where the caveats come in. Well, in terms of sacks, both the Bears and the Rams allowed 3 sacks apiece. The Bears had no turnovers. The Rams had 2. They had a fumble lost on that strip sack, coughed up, and then they had the poltergeist strike. And so that's a big contributing factor now. But let's look at these specifics, because I've been espousing the 25-30 principle. Let's apply the principle to the postmortem, and let's see how the Rams did. Well, Matty from the D. Stafford, 20 of 29 for for 224. He did have that poltergeist strike. And he did have those 3 sacks. And so when you add it up now, 29 pass attempts plus 3 sacks, that's 32 dropbacks. 32. That is over the cap for the 25-30 principle. Okay, let's look at the run game. K. Will, 19 carries, 94 yards, 4.9. He's averaging 5 yards a pop with a touchdown. You got a running back averaging 5 yards a carry for the whole game. Give him the ball. Feed him, McGenius. No, he won't do that. Ronnie Rivers, 6 carries, 26 yards, 4.4 yards a pop. So the running backs were breaking off nice yards on their runs. They only got the 25 attempts, though. But that is the minimum. Minimum is 25. If you look just on the surface, it looks like McWonder met the metrics for the 25-30 principle, 20 of 29 for Stafford, 25 run plays. And so on the surface, it looks like he meets the metric, but then the reality is the metric was also met by Chicago. And what did I tell you? When both coaches officially meet the metric, meet the criteria for the 25-30 principle, you've got to look deeper and look at balance and look at how they met it. And so that's where you see it. Now, McGenius, when you add the sacks in, he had 32. That puts him over. 25 runs, 32 pass attempts. What about the Bears? Caleb Williams, fight on. And he hasn't looked great, not compared to like Jaden Daniels in the nation's capital. Wow. But Caleb Williams, 17 of 23, stopped the presses. 23 pass attempts for the rookie. 23. He was sacked 3 times. Add that in. That's a total of 26 dropbacks, 26 pass plays. 25-30 principle mandates you cap it at 30. They're at 26. That's a check. Rushing? Well, 23 carries for the running backs. And Caleb Williams had another 5 carries for 12 yards. So they had 28. So there it is. They had 26 pass plays, 28 run plays. And that's pretty close to balance. They're just off by 1. 28, 26. They meet both metrics of the principle and they're balanced. And they won. The 25-30 principle holds true yet again, my folks. The Rams, they had the 25 run plays, but a total of 32 pass plays when you factor in the 3 sacks. And so they, in fact, Mr. McWonder was outside the metric of the principle. He's heavy on passes every time. And so, of course, you see the outcome. But finally, my folks, and this has been quite an episode, but finally, let me give you my last exhibit in the case against McWonder. Team statistics on offense and defense for the Rams. At the quarter pole, the Rams rank number 21. There are 32 teams. So the bottom 11 teams, that's the bottom third of the league. That's where the Rams are in rush play percentage. They rush. The percentage of times they run the ball is in the bottom third of the league. What about the defense? Well, this is extremely interesting, my folks. At the quarter pole now, the opponents of the Rams, the percentage of the time that they run the ball is 55%. Now remember, the Rams run the ball against their opponents 39%, but their opponents run it against them 55%. What does that tell you? Well, if you can run the ball, if you can control the line of scrimmage, if you can dominate on the ground, you got a stranglehold on McGenius. And these coaches understand that. Rushing yards per game. The Rams rushing yards per game. The Rams rank number 28. There are 32 teams in the league. They're 4 from the bottom. The number of rushes they attempt per game, they rank 24. They're 8 from the bottom. And the yards per rush, number 25. 6, 7 from the bottom. Meanwhile, opponents run against the Rams 33 times a game on average. They're averaging 5 yards a pop on the ground against the Rams. They're rushing for 165 yards a game against the Rams. That's the worst defensive showing against the run in the NFL. The bottom. So the Rams are being gouged by the run. You lose a legend, AD 99, the beast. You know there's a hole there. And these teams know it. These opponents know it. These head coaches know it. And they're exploiting the Rams on the ground. You combine that with the fact that they also know that Coach McWonder has a condition. He's unbalanced. He's got pass happiness. And so they know, I control the ground game. Let him do what he does and chuck it, chuck it, chuck it. It's a formula that is almost assured to win. You're going to beat McWonder every damn time. I hope that you're starting to see what I've been seeing for a very, very long time now. Let's look at points scored and points allowed. In the NFC, the Rams have only scored 75 points in 4 games thus far. That is third from the bottom in the NFC. Only the Giants and the Panthers have scored less, and both of those teams are lousy. Now, conversely, points allowed. The Rams have allowed, remember, they've only scored 75, third worst in the NFC, and at the same time, they've allowed 115 points. 115 points is second worst in the NFC. In fact, it's second worst in the NFL. The Rams are 1 from the bottom in points allowed. Only Carolina is worse in the entire NFL. Only Carolina is worse, and the Rams are second. And then who's third and fourth? Interestingly enough, it's Arizona and Dallas. These are the worst 4 teams in terms of points allowed. And I don't believe in Dallas. And you see, Arizona is 1-3, tied for the bottom of the NFC West, tied with the Rams. Well, actually, the Rams are in the cellar because Arizona beat them. And that's the only win Arizona has all season against the Rams. And so I think it's safe to say that this is not a good football team. It's not well coached. It's not that the injuries and the personnel have betrayed the Rams. It's the leadership. It's from the top down. This has been the case against Coach McWonder. Folks, what I'm going to have to ask now from you, what I'm going to need for you to do is throw me one of these. Please like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I tried to be less bombastic and more clinical in my approach this episode. Let me know what you thought. And until the next episode, which won't be too long from this episode because we're going to be back on the other side of the Green Bay game, and I'm afraid we're going to have to do another post-mortem of this ilk before we get mercifully to the Rams bye. And I'm afraid we're looking at a 1-4 team. until the next one, my friends, the prosecution rests. Do you see it? The evidence will allow no other conclusion but guilty of bird brain behavior and McBlunders galore. And so until the next one, my folks, Scotty says, one love.